Towards least 6 people were killed and dozens of homes were damaged early on Wednesday morning when Russian forces fired cruise missiles towards the city of Odessa in the south of Ukraine and bombarded the Donetsk region in the east of the country, according to officials from the surrounding area in Ukraine. According to a spokeswoman for the Ukrainian military, Russian forces have recently increased the number of aerial strikes they are launching in their nearly 16-month-long conflict. In the meantime, the military forces of the country have reported minimal gains in the early stages of a counteroffensive to regain control of almost 1/5 of Ukraine's land, which is currently under the authority of the Russian Federation. Hanna Maliar, the Deputy Defense Minister of Ukraine, stated on Wednesday that the arduous advance being made by the Ukrainian military is making modest but steady progress. The battle to oust entrenched, heavily equipped, and huge number of Russian troops might take years, according to Western analysts and military officials. According to Maliar, Ukrainian forces had advanced between 200 and 500 meters, 650 and 1,600 feet, along various sectors of the front line surrounding the city of Bakhmut in Donetsk, and between 300 and 350 meters, 980 and 1,150 feet, in the southern region of Zaporizhzhia. She stated that Ukrainian forces had been able to advance despite the superiority that Russian forces have in terms of artillery and air power. After a catastrophic spat between his top military chiefs and the mercenary warlord Yevgeny Prigozhin, Vladimir Putin has appeared to side with his top brass, calling for Russia's volunteer detachments fighting in Ukraine to be placed under the direct control of the Defense Ministry. This comes after his top military chiefs had a feud with Yevgeny Prigozhin, who is a mercenary warlord. The ruling deals a serious blow to Prigozhin, who has leveraged Wagner's part in the capture of Bakhmut into an enormous public profile in Russia, which he uses to criticize Putin's generals and promote himself. Prigozhin's position is badly weakened as a result of the decision. On Tuesday, the Russian president expressed his approval of Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu's effort to compel mercenary companies to sign contracts with the ministry. This is an order that Prigozhin has refused to carry out. The Russian president made these remarks while speaking to a group of pro-war bloggers. Putin stated about the military contracts need to be done, and it needs to be done as quickly as possible. He also stated that this was in line with common sense, with established practice and the law. A step that is perceived as an attempt to rein in Prigozhin by incorporating Wagner into the army. Shoigu had earlier ordered that all volunteer detachments sign contracts with his ministry by the end of the month. In reaction, Prigozhin stated that Wagner would not sign any contracts with Shoigu, and he criticized Shoigu for his inability to properly manage military formations. Wagner will not sign any contracts with Shoigu, he said. A stubborn Prigozhin dug down on his position when he was asked to comment on Putin's words for Wednesday. When we started participating in this war, no one said that we would be obliged to conclude agreements with the Ministry of Defense, he remarked in a rare public condemnation of the president. No one said that we would be required to conclude agreements with the Ministry of Defense, he added. Not one of the Wagner combatants is willing to put themselves through that humiliation once more. And because of this, nobody would sign contracts, he added, adding that he believed the Russian president will find a compromise for Wagner. This month brought a new level of tension between Prigozhin and the military, which culminated in a Russian commander accusing Wagner of kidnapping and torturing Russian soldiers under his command. Shoigu, a close supporter of the president who has come under political fire for Moscow's faltering efforts in Ukraine, is regarded as receiving a significant boost from Putin's engagement as a result of this. In addition to this, it has placed Prigozhin in the most dangerous position he has been in since the invasion began. Shoigu has Prigozhin in a position that is roughly equivalent to checkmate. The state could have grounds to stop supporting Wagner, or even make legal moves against them, said Dara Masakat, a senior policy researcher at the RAND Corporation. If Wagner does not sign a defense ministry contract in a few weeks, the state could have grounds to stop supporting Wagner. Several analysts concluded that Putin most likely made the choice several months ago to restrict Wagner's influence in Ukraine. The decision was made in January, but they were waiting for Wagner to take Bakhmut, stated Tatiana Stanovaya, the founder of the political analysis business Politik. They were waiting for Wagner to take Bakhmut. It was decided that everyone should be subjected to the general staff, at least on the territory of Ukraine. At the beginning of this month, Prigozhin announced that his troops had largely withdrawn from Bakhmut, the majority of which they had captured despite suffering considerable casualties. If Prigozhin were to be excluded from Ukraine, it would demote one of the most recognizable military leaders in Russian history. He has built a populist and anti-elite persona through his consistent use of social media, which has resonated with Russian citizens who are dissatisfied with the floundering invasion. The public's opinion of the warlord reached its highest point as his forces gradually conquered Bakhmut, providing Moscow with its first genuine military success since the summer of last year. The former official also noted that Putin hinted on Tuesday that some of Prigozhin's criticism of the military was justified. At the start of the special military operation, we quickly realized that the carpet generals are not effective, to put it mildly, Putin said. People started to come out of the shadows who we hadn't heard or seen before, and they turned out to be very effective and made themselves useful. Prigozhin's future could depend on the success or failure of Ukraine's counteroffensive, Stanovaya argued. He's waiting for them to see that without his abilities and skills, the Russian army will lose territory and Putin or Shoigu will come to him for help. He dreams about that. A significant dam in an area of southern Ukraine that is under Russian control has been breached, resulting in the release of a flood. The military of Ukraine, as well as NATO, have pointed the finger at Russia for blowing up the dam, but Russia has pointed the finger back at Ukraine. The Dnipro River has forced the evacuation of thousands of residents living in low-lying districts on both sides of the river. The head of humanitarian aid for the United Nations, Martin Griffiths, has issued a warning that there will be severe and far-reaching consequences. Here is what we are aware of at this time. Where can you find the dam? The city of Nova Kakhovka, which is located in the Kherson area, is home to the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. The city is being occupied by the Russians at the moment. The dam is one of 6 that are located along the Dnipro River, which runs from the extreme north of the country down to the Black Sea. It was constructed during the time of the Soviet Union. While Ukraine maintains control of the right, or northern, bank in the Kherson region, Russia maintains occupation of the left or southern bank. Because the dam creates a massive reservoir, the locals refer to it as the Kakhovka Sea. In certain areas, it is impossible to see the water on the other side of the dam. What came to pass? The dam seems to have suffered a catastrophic break, as evidenced by video footage showing water gushing through the hole and pouring downstream in the direction of Kherson. The operator of the Ukrainian dams, Ukrhydroenergo, stated that the Nova Kakhovka station had been fully destroyed and could not be repaired. It is unknown exactly when the dam was destroyed for the first time. However, satellite photographs suggest that the dam's condition deteriorated over many days. Agricultural land and dozens of villages and cities were swiftly flooded as a result of water that was released from the massive Kakhovka reservoir and flowed through the damaged dam. Thousands of residents on both sides of the river have been forced out of their houses and evacuated. But it is not yet known how extensive the damage caused by the calamity will be. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.